So hey everybody, welcome. Of course, Jamie Pollock from Royalwise. This is going to be my first attempt at doing an Apple Watch demo. So here you see I have my Apple Watch, and I'm going to tap it to wake it up and make sure that the camera can see it. A quick tour of the outside of the watch. Here on the right side, we have what's called the crown, and this crown is something we can spin, but it's also something we can push like a button. So right now, if I were to push that crown in, it's actually going to show me all the different apps or applets. These are little apps that connect to apps on my phone. And I can actually use the crown to go farther away from it or closer into it to kind of get an overview picture of what the apps are, and then even zoom in. This is also a touchscreen, so I can use my finger and move it around with my finger if I want to, but these are all different apps that are available to look at through the Apple Watch, and we will visit a couple of those here in a minute. So my crown, I'm going to push my crown button again to get back to my home screen or my basic screen. Right below that, there is another button right here that if I push it, it's actually going to take me to a list of the apps that are still open. This is like swiping up on the phone and or double pushing the home button or swiping up and pausing. And now I can use my crown to scroll through this to see all the different apps that are still open on my phone, like the sleep app or other things like that. Now when I'm in this little area, the app switching area, I can actually swipe these guys to the left and hit this X to close those apps. I can also use my finger to swipe if I want to. I can swipe up and down on it, but a lot of times that crown is easier to just use it to spin. Okay, I'm going to push the crown to get back to my home screen. And to remind you, I use the little button underneath the crown to get into that area where I can see what apps are open and switch between them. Now, another thing, and this is one of the ways I use my watch all the time, is the crown. If I touch and hold it in, I've activated SIRI. Set a timer for 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes and counting.
This is literally what I use my watch for every single day while I cook. Anytime I'm cooking and I need a timer, I do it through my Apple Watch. And the little 10-minute timer, and I don't have to be in the kitchen, and the minute it rings or it taps me on the wrist to let me know the timer's done, I head back into the kitchen to take care of whatever meal I'm dealing with, or what, take it out of the oven or stir it, or whoever, whatever. Home button again, push that, the crown to get back to this home screen. Now, if I go back to the other button and look through those apps, sometimes I'll see the timer app open in here. Right now I don't. So if I want to know what's happening with my timer, I'm going to start SIRI up again. How much time is left on my timer? And then it'll pull that timer back up. So if I don't see it in the app list, I can still get to it just by asking the request of what to do. Push the crown in again to get back to my home screen. A couple cool things about this home screen is you see a lot of different information. So you see the time and the date and the weather. Along the bottom, there's my battery level, my activity monitor, my rings they talk about, and then also the fact that it's 59 degrees right now. Let me wake that back up. And today's going to have a high of 70 and a low of 48. I can tap on any one of these things and get into that app. So now here is the weather in Portland right now because I tapped on the weather area. And if I scroll up or down, I can even check the air quality and the UV index, the wind speed, and then here's a little today, tomorrow, next couple of days, what's coming up. Push on the crown to get back to that home screen. If I want to check my activities, I can come down here and tap on my rings. And now there's my activity for the day so far today. And so that's how much movement and exercise and standing that I've done. I've taken 3,000 steps so far today for a mile, 1.3 miles. There's also a weekly summary, or I can change my activity goals. And you'll notice along the bottom, there's those 3 little dots, the white one and the 2 blue ones, meaning I can swipe right or left and get more information. So I can actually share my activities using the fitness app on my iPhone, or I can check what challenges they've given me, and have I accomplished it and got any medals. So this is actually kind of a fun way for fitness to check to see if you have any medals here in the system. Okay, pushing the crown to get back to my home screen. Same thing where I can tap up here on the globe, and now I'm in the world clock area. It's telling me that locations being used for local cities. Do I want to allow world clock to use my approximate location? My watch does have GPS, and I can say, yep, go ahead and allow it once I'm in the app. or allow it once. And so now it can tell where I am and give me information about my location. And notice I can scroll through in my current location or the locations I've saved: Portland, Albuquerque, Washington, D.C., all sorts of stuff. Push my crown to get back out of there and back to my home screen. So the other couple things we're going to look at is swiping from the top and the bottom, which is kind of normal for all Apple devices. But if I come from the top down, I'm going to swipe from the top down. And here are the notifications that have gone by recently. So any notifications that I've missed, I can come here and see what they are. And then if I want to at the very top, I can clear all of these notifications so I don't have to delete them one at a time. If I do, though, I can swipe them to the left and then hit this little X to say, get rid of that notification. Finally, the control center. Everybody knows I love control of these devices, so I'm going to swipe from the bottom up and get into the control center. And here we see where I can turn on and off my Wi-Fi, my cellular, airplane mode. I can actually use the Find My Phone. That's that little phone. I can use my watch as a flashlight, which is actually kind of cool when you're trying to get into bed at night and you don't want to wake everybody up. I keep my watch in Do Not Disturb and silent mode. And that is the little clown faces is movie mode. So if you're going into a movie, it will silence it so you don't get anything ringing and disturbing everybody. That yellow one is actually walkie-talkie. That allows me to walkie-talkie with other Apple Watches in my ecosystem. So Alicia and I can walkie-talkie around the house using our Apple Watches. That's kind of fun. Voice memo, AirPlay, and I can edit this and customize this entire area. Great. I'm going to use my crown to get back out of that, back to my home screen. Hey, look, my timer's done, right? We put a 5-minute timer on, and now I can immediately repeat it or say stop it. All right, and so now I can see my battery reserve. Let me get back out of there one more time. And then the last thing I'm going to show you is just an app or two. I'm going to go ahead and push the crown to get into the apps and show you that there's a bunch of different apps. We've been in a couple of them without even knowing it, like the World Clock app right there and or the Timer app. We've kind of been in a couple of those guys. We do see the photo app, so if I wanted to, I could go in and see what kind of photos I've got in my favorites list or whatever I decide, and then I can zoom in and out and find the photo I want to find and then tap on it to see it. Get back out of there. Another cool one down here is the EKG app, where I can actually like take my own EKG if I want to. And now it's going to just tell me it's going to check my heart rate and then tell me to hold my finger on the crown. Then it's going to check my echocardiogram. I am an AFibber, so I do use this to check to see if I'm having irregular heartbeats. So let me get out of there. Calculator, just checking your pulse. That's a very cool one too. But of course, I want to show you the settings app because that's one thing that we all need to know about. Settings app right here. Once you go into settings, this is where we control our notifications, our general settings, our do not disturb, airplane mode, cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all sorts of different stuff, SIRI, passcodes, the battery, privacy, and then all the different other apps that might have some settings. Okay, I'm going to push on the crown one last time to get out of the settings app. I am then going to push my bottom button just to see what apps are still open and show that, again, I can swipe these to the right and then hit the X to close these guys if I want to. And ultimately, when I'm done, I'm going to push my crown and get back to my home screen. Okay, so that is our Apple Watch 101 class and basically gives us a rundown of the basic functionality of the watch. There's a ton more to know, a ton more to learn. Thank you so much for joining me for this quick demo on the Apple Watch.